a parapet cap on top of the roof parapet. حطينا this kind of stone cap. We're actually going to model it this time.
I have a question. When I'm trying to save the file as, the only thing that pops up is a template, not a...
That's because it's already a template.
You can't convert it to an RDT?
You would have to. You'd have to open a new project and select it as a template and then save it as a project. I think that's the way this. We'll do it after. Take a look at after class.
Okay.
Okay, so I briefly talked about rooms last time. Rooms, there are two ways to do them. Okay? To add a room in the project, there are two ways. You either create a list of all your rooms in the project, فتكتبون living room, bedroom, bathroom, تحطون كل الغرف. If it's a big project, you might have 20, 100 rooms. وبعدين بالمشروع, in the floor plan, you place those rooms. That's one way. Okay? الحين انتم مثلا بالجدول مع الغرف تحطون كل الغرف. And then you actually place that room in the plan. That's one way. Another way is you create the room from the plan. الحين عندكم floor plan فاضي ما في ولا غرفة. You start creating the rooms and then you modify the schedule. So there are two ways in Revit to do that. So the first thing I want to do is we have some spaces that are not defined into different rooms. So if you have the kitchen مبطل على الصالة صح؟ You may or may not have an entry. يمكن دخلتكم دشت على الصالة direct. Okay, so if you're entering into the living room, then you don't have an entry, which is fine. Now, in order to divide the space into separate rooms, we have to create a room separator. Okay, هذه أول خطوة. Then under architecture, if you just test it out again, go to architecture. Under room and area, there's a tag that says room. Don't click into the project yet, just click on room. And when you hover over your plan, you might see that the room is bleeding into the kitchen. صح? So don't click it yet. Okay, it's going to tell you. Check مثلا, is your stair separate from the elevator? It should be, صح? The elevator should be بروحها. صح? The stair dash على الصالة. Okay, so now we want to separate the stair من الصالة والصالة من the kitchen. So escape, don't place the room yet. Under room, it says room separator. Okay? And then by default, the thing floors. Usually when you create a floor, usually when you create a wall, في check لو لاحظت مكتوب يمنا room bounding. That means it's creating a room. فلو حطينا 4 أطوار, it will automatically define the edges of the room. So what we want to do is now define additional edges. So click on room separator and start separating مثلا the kitchen. You can click from wall to wall. And you might get some errors saying you get a duplicate boundary, which is fine. So you have one here. If you're putting an entry, then you can create another line divider here as well. We want to also divide من هالطوفة. Take the staircase, the edge of the staircase, down to here. Okay? So we want to separate the stair before we want to separate the kitchen. So now if you go back and you click on room, it should now give you divided spaces before you start clicking. You will see in the هذه مثلا صارت غير متحدة. Okay, is anyone getting spaces leaking into other spaces? Are any spaces leaking into other spaces when you divided them all equally, okay? لا كيتشن كورت والدايننج الحين نبي نفصل اي فصل الكيتشن عن الدايننج. You decide where the lines are, and I think it should be مع فوقها مع refrigerator, and you move that line. There, undo. That clockwise اللي مع يعني هل refrigerator مثلا مع الطاقة اللي should be the edge of your kitchen.
يعني I draw a square على الاريا.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone has separate walls, and when you hit room, you're getting the rooms where you want them to be?
Yes.
Okay, so I want us to start placing the rooms. Click on room. Before you start clicking, أول شيء, make sure on the left side it says room _ tag with finishes. Okay? And make sure it says in the upper limit ground floor 4,000. It's by default there unless you change it. So then click for the bedroom, the living room and the kitchen, and if you have an entry. I can stair with elevator, don't click yet. Okay, place them in those spaces. If you have an entry, add it to the entry, add it to the kitchen, and add it to the living room. Did anyone place it in the stairs or elevator yet? Okay. Once you have them clicked there, خلاص, escape. Click again on room. On the left side, I want you to change upper limit to first floor. Okay? We have some vertical spaces next to the elevator shaft and the stairs are going to span more than one floor. راح يطلع من الأرضي بيكمل like a column all the way up to the first floor. The elevator مكمل and it's a shaft. Staircase نفس الشيء مكمل as one vertical room. Only those two راح يكملون لفوق. Okay?
What's the section?
So click, after you did the living room and the kitchen, escape. خلاص, now you have tags for these. Now go back and click on room again. The setting here on the left, change it to first floor. By default it's ground floor, صح? Change it to first floor. خلوا هذا 4,000, it's for now, it's fine. And then you click one for the elevator and one for the staircase.
we change to first floor بس حق الستيرز والإليفيتر.
لأن those are spanning من الأرضي بيطلعون للدور الأول كاملين. The vertical circulation صح؟ احنا لقينا بالدور الأرضي. But I'm saying the setting when we're clicking, we're changing it to first floor.
That's only the staircase and the elevator.
Okay. Okay, by default, you're going to see that your tags are probably entering into the space of نص الغرفة, صح? Now, to take it outside, if you want to, and most of the time we will want to do that, click on the tag, and on the left side it says leader line. Click on leader line and check the box. So now عشان نطلع label برا, click on the label and check leader. Make sure it's checked. الحين انت مو سويتي label بالصالة مثلا بالكيتشن, click on it, راح يطلع كذي مربع مستطيل احمر. On the left side, make sure that leader line is checked. By default, it's not checked. انزين, you're going to see 3 handles هني. راح تشوفون الموف بالنص, وراح تشوفون دائرة بالنص هني على الخط, وراح تشوفون دائرة تحت. Do you see all 3? Okay. The one where it says move, this moves the tag itself, so you can click and drag it برا. Okay. اللي بالنص messes the leader up. It splits it. بالنص. Go straight to the one اللي تحت. You can click and drag to make it farther out to the edge as needed. Then you can try to rearrange it as you see fit. But if you notice, if you move this line outside of the wall, question mark, because it's not referencing the room anymore. So make sure you're touching the space, you're within the boundaries of the space in order to get the information of that room. Is that clear? Everyone's able to do that? You can move the label outside. Now when you move multiple labels outside, take that as a general rule. If you have things that are multiple elements in the project that look like they should be lining up, you should line them up to get an organized plan. هني مثلا أنا حاط 3 labels يم بعض, أو يعني 3 labels برا البلان on the southern part. These need to line up. ما يصير واحد هني وواحد فوق شوي وواحد تحت شوي. So what's the best way to exactly? So annotate. Detail line, حطوا خط where you think that's the best place for the labels. وبعدين manually start aligning them so that they line up according to that detail line. And don't forget to delete that detail line after you're done. زين. So again, we know how to create a label. We know how to push the label outside. We want to label those different rooms. Change the number and the name. Okay? So usually what we do, and we were going to apply that when we do room door tags and window tags, you start with مثلا the first main window or main entry, and قاعد نتكلم على rooms. فأول غرفة ندشها, and then you can start doing a clockwise rotation of the sequence. فأول غرفة دشيناها مثلا the living room or the entry if you have an entry, that becomes room number 1. Okay? إذا دشينا, إذا ما عندكم entry راح تدشون الصالة أول شيء, صح؟ So living dining راح تصير room number 1. What's clockwise the room after it مثلا? That should be number 2. Then number 3, and you go forward. Okay?
ليش حطينا first floor؟ يعني لما حطيتها صار في 2 levels.
احنا الحين بالجراوند فلور, ما تقدر تحكي الفيرست فلور بلان؟
لا أنت بس نساعد نغيرها نساعد نحطها first.
اي عندنا when we have vertical spaces تعتبر غرفة واحدة. فأنا قاعد أغير ارتفاع الغرفة. By default الغرفة ارتفاعها مثلا هني 4 متر. بس هذا المصعد الدرعي it's going 2 floors up. So I made it go higher. So when you look at it in section بعدين you'll see that this room صار ارتفاعها مثلا 8 meters 4 زائد 4 first floor plus 4. Okay. So you would change the number by clicking these are tags. Okay. They modify the parameters in the project. فمثلا عرفنا ان this is the main room دشينا فيها and the living room was number 1. And here number, you click on it and you can change the number directly. If the number already exists in another room, it's going to give you an error. So one way to do that, and you can't have 2 rooms in نفس الرقم. You can have 2 number 1 rooms. You can put big numbers, let's say مثلا 21, and then rearrange the numbers as you see fit. Okay. Another easy way is you actually place the rooms in the sequence. فالغد ياخذ الرقم instead of having to change it. When you click on the name of the room, you just click and it's going to give you this highlight, but then you can write the name. Don't forget, all the text is uppercase, no lowercase text. Hey, if you write living plus dining room, you'll notice that your tag would have the bottom of the text overlapping with the box. How do we fix that? How can we fix a tag? Edit family. When you click on it, تشوفون هني edit family, click on that. راح يفتح لكم الفاميلي بروحها الفايل مال الفاميلي راح تشوفون مكتوب room name and then these tags هني. So room name, there should be a small gap like this. That should be enough. So try to push your room name above the rectangle شوية to avoid that gap. There's a bit of trial and error, so don't move it up too much so it doesn't become a big gap. This is roughly what you can see the distance between them. And then when you say load into project and close, check now your double line. Is it still overlapping with that? Yes.
When I'm moving the table, my side and the table
Okay, so make sure that your annotation crop is fitting everything that you're annotating. So if you go on the left side, ground floor, click anywhere above. On the where it says extents, click on crop view, crop region visible, and annotation crop. And then zoom out. If you hover over your frame, شوفين الداش line الأزرق. That's the annotation crop. If your annotation crop صار كذي راح يختفي التاج. Because the tag is an annotation element. So make sure your tags are within your annotation crops. You have to fix it. أراضي فيها أرقام صغيرة، فالحل إنه ممكن كلهم تغيريهم أرقام كبيرة، يعني do مثلا 33, 22, 11 كلهم أرقام كبيرة.